welcome back to the Ramblings of a Designer. We are a weekly podcast. We talk about the latest in graphic design news from around the web. Hey, my name is Terry, and I'm one of the co-hosts. I am a UX UI designer from the Bay Area, and I help bridge the gap between products and their end users. Hey, I'm here with Adam, who helps run the podcast. So, Adam, take it away.
Hey, my name's Adam. I'm a designer from the San Francisco Bay Area. I specialize in visual UI design with a little bit of illustration. I like to give companies character.
Oh, I like that line. I have been saying that for almost about a year and a half, and I still haven't found my touch of that line. I like to get company's characters. Well, you know what? I just might steal yours.
Yeah, let's workshop
I'm
it.
joking. Yeah, shop it.
Yeah,
That's
let's
true. Let's have a
workshop it.
brain session about it. Awesome, awesome. So, Adam, how is your week going?
My week has been actually it's been productive and unproductive at the same time. Yeah,
50-50.
yeah, because it's been like a little, just like little projects here and there have been keeping me busy, but not the projects I want, right? Not the projects that I'm used to doing. So work has got me doing weekend work, actually for like the past 2 weekends. So I've been busy on that, and it's been kind of, it's a necessary need every once in a while in a business to work on the weekends, and so this was mine. Luckily, it doesn't happen that often. But then on top of that, I had like another little project for a friend that needed something, and then I'm also working on something for my sister. And so I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm keeping myself busy doing design stuff, but at the same time, I was like, like I had that homework I wanted to get done from last week, and I haven't done it. So, well, spoiler. And well, that's fine. But I've been busy. I've been trucking. Not with the fun stuff that I usually like doing, but it's okay. It's I can see stuff wrapping up this weekend, and then we'll have the holiday season to get back into my groove. So I think I'll be fine. But yeah, that was my week. Terry, what about you?
Oh my God, that is such a little question. Okay, I will try and make this as short as possible. A lot of fun, amazing stuff kind of happen, which I'm kind of floored about actually. Um, I did a post on LinkedIn on Friday just about of like how people ask for help or if they're getting into the UX arena, if they're a little older, can they switch gears in career and stuff? And somebody asked me that question. So I mean, I'm just going to be frank here, but it's like, oh my God, why is everybody thinking just because you're at a certain age, or just because your mom or your dad, or you're an intern, that you can't do certain things? To me, I think that's all just all crap. But anyways, okay, I said my 2 cents. Anyway, moving forward. So anyway, I kind of, I posted something like that, and that went kind of off in Zoom land. And then after that, um I received of like over 75 people like asking me just like, oh my God, thank you so much. And it's like, oh my Lord, how come we're not helping people? That's just my question out there to our industry. How come we're not helping other people when they asked for help? If they do ask you, oh, can I have 2 cents to look at my resume or my portfolio, well, help them, give them feedback, just don't say, oh yeah, I'm busy, or not even acknowledge them. um so that's been I mean, I have been humbled and very honored of to hear a lot of people's stories about where they're coming from, where they're going, what are their pain points. uh, it's actually, I just posted another one right now, maybe what, about 10 minutes ago, about just like the most powerful thing that we can do as either seasoned designers or UX designers, UI designers, website designers, or just anything in the whole creative field. It's just listening. Listen to them. Just
Hmm.
listen. So anyway, I'm gonna go off my soapbox. Well, anyway, so that was pretty cool. Um, just yeah, it was just flabbergasted. And oh yes, and to the point, and to the point. So anyway, I did that post, and then basically somebody reached out, and you wouldn't believe this. I was floored. I've already asked for his permission to actually read this on the air. So anyway, I'm going to do a shout out of to Andrew. Andrew, if I do say your name wrong, Vo or Vu, it's VO. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. Like I said, I'm terrible at English. Anyway, he goes, "Hey, Terry, my weekend was great. Firstly, I love your podcast. It's one of my main rotation when driving to school. Haha. I'm currently working on redesigning of a website for the World Hunger Initiative." I was floored. I'm like, what? What? So, Adam, that was our first person that ever said, "Hey, I listened to your podcast." So,
What?
yeah. So, like, I thought that was kind of cool. So, anyway, I got to talk to Andrew a little bit and stuff like that. And basically, I did ask, like I said, I did ask permission if I can, use his name and everything like that. And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm all, "Oh, cool." So, anyway, shout out to Andrew. When you're driving, please be safe. Um, and stuff like that. So anyway, and basically, Andrew actually asked a question. So do you want to do the question now, or do you want to do grapes? Do you have grapes?
I do have a gripe. I figured let's do questions after the news.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so Andrew, stay tuned. We have your question, and we will definitely answer it. And then one more thing, my website is done and it's going to be launched early next week, and I'm so excited. Okay, I'm done. I'll shut up now. Okay, so news. So what do you have for us?
Let's see. Well, actually, I wanted to get into my gripe real quick, and it's
Oh,
pretty
you're
simple.
right.
Yeah, my gripe for the past, I guess, couple months has been trying to use Uber slash Lyft, right? And I don't know, something about using the software. It's a great feature. I love to have. Well, actually, I use Lyft mainly. I love using Lyft. The only problem is that I guess the way that the culture behind it is a little weird. For example, I don't know, like for example, just yesterday, I tried using my Lyft, right? I clicked on the thing, the person accepted, and I noticed that they were on the freeway, they're on 101 kind of going southbound. And so I was like, okay, it said it was like 11 minutes away. So I was annoyed because I was like, oh, 11 minutes, that's terrible. And then I saw the person on the app, he missed his exit that he should have taken, and he was still stuck on the freeway, and he would have had to take the other exit, which would have made it like a 20 to 15 minute more ride, because it was traffic at the time, right? It was at the end, it was during the rush hour. And so I had to cancel it. And then I was like, I'm just gonna cancel it. I'm gonna try to do it again to see if I could get somebody new. So I canceled it, and then when I did it again, uh, I was charged more in order to use it again. And I was like, like I don't know. For some reason, uh, every once in a while, like things don't really go as planned. I've had situations where people were going to pick me up, but then since they were doing, I usually do the shared thing, like they'll miss the stop where or like they'll miss the exit where they're gonna go to pick me up, so then they'll just go and pick up the other person and keep it going. So they'll forget about me, or like or they'll have to pick somebody off at the airport, and then they'll try to get lost kind of figuring that out. I don't know. It's just every once in a while, there's just like a weird experience with Lyft, or using any one of these type of ride services, and it's enough where it's like it's becoming a gripe, right? And so I don't know if you all have the same experience or not. There was one time where somebody was gonna pick me up, but I want to say that they accepted it, and then I'm pretty sure they pulled into a strip mall, like to go to like a 7-Eleven or something. Cause like I saw them, like it looks like they entered a parking lot, and then they were like waiting, and I was like, so they can come like 10 minutes late until like 10 minutes later, and I'm watching them on my phone, see where they're at, and so they're like he's like literally um, like a mile away, or a half a mile away, but he stopped at like, I don't know. So it's just it's been a consistent thing. It's been a consistent thing where I'm like, I don't know what to do about it, but
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be laughing.
yeah, yeah,
But
no, go ahead.
no, no, it's just funny. It's just like, you know, like 15 years ago, we didn't have this problem of like getting point A to point B. So, I mean, now accessibility, just getting wherever you want to go, it's just like, I mean, if we want to order food, we can get food. If we want to go
Mhm.
somewhere, we can go somewhere. But like many years ago, that wasn't an option.
Right? You had to like take a horse or like,
You got to take a caddy, a horse
yeah,
and buggy.
people just walked everywhere. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. First world
It's just
problems, I
funny.
get it. I get it's a first world problem. I get that it's I have the luxury of being
Yeah,
able to
yeah, you
take a
do.
lift every once in a while. But
Yeah, you
can we
do.
figure it out, people? Can we just get it right just a little bit better? Come on. 2020,
Yeah,
where's this future?
yeah, but yeah, yeah, I have to agree with you on some level. Anytime I use Uber, whatever, I'm like waiting, and the person drives up. Oh, are you Beth? No, not Beth. Another
Sorry,
driver comes.
just keeps going. Yeah.
Hey, are you Maggie? I'm all, no, not Maggie. And then finally, I get my ride. But you know what? At least they ask. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of cool. They're just making sure they're they're picking up the right person and stuff. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Laughing is good for the soul. The more you
Anyway,
laugh,
that's
the
oh.
more you can't get upset.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's my gripe. But I'll get into the news as well.
Dum, dum,
So,
dum. What is the
my
news?
article is it's from uxdesign.cc, and it's called "Trends to Keep an Eye in 2020." And so this is from
Ooh.
yeah, right. This is from Jeremiah Lamb. So he's talking about trends that he thinks will kind of dominate the kind of UX and product design landscape. And a lot of this stuff, he even mentions himself that they're not really that new, but maybe net will have a bigger focus next year on them. So that could be, I could see some of these, right? So the first one he talks about is cross-device synchronization, and that we have that to some extent now. That's pretty well, right? That's where, like, let's say you're watching a show on Netflix, and then you can go on to your Roku, and it's like picked up right where you left off. We see this with movies and TV and maybe some like books, for example. And so the idea of having products kind of leave off right where you left off. It'll be great to see. Well, games have that functionality. Well, it'd be great if you have, let's say you have a game on your phone that you also. I don't know where else that would really come to play besides like media that you watch. So, well,
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, I guess we'll see where it goes in the future. Right? It's like, huh, where else? Where else would I would want to pick up where I left off? Maybe like a video or an article, right? Like a news article.
Hmm.
That'd be a good one.
Images,
Yeah, right. Like,
maybe. I
like
don't know.
like I said, that's the same problem that I have with Facebook sometimes, where I mentioned in the past where like I would go, since it goes off of it forces you to go to top stories. It removes the timeline, and so sometimes if I see an article that's like, oh, I remember I saw that on Facebook, but can't forget where it was from. I can't remember who made that post. Then I lost the post forever because since I have no timeline to base off of it, I can't really go back to that same spot and try to find that article again. It's like lost in the ether, so it doesn't really allow for like going back to search that well. But whatever. So that'd be good if Facebook offered that. If you could just
Hmm.
stick to the timeline like I want, whatever. Okay, tangent. So the next one he talks about personalization, which I think definitely will make a big play, right? He says that like right now we see that also in media with the way we get recommended things. So like on YouTube and Netflix, they have a recommendation feature based off of your viewing history. Spotify also likes to create playlists based off of what you listen to. You know, they even say Medium. Yeah, Medium also like based off of your reading history. Here's other articles you might like. So the idea of personalization will get a big push. This one is pretty interesting that I like to situational relevance. This is like the idea where our experience using a device or using a product changes depending on what the situation is. And so a great example he gave is when he talks about like that McDonald's is creating a drive-through menu that's tailored for things like weather and like traffic and like trending things on the menu. So you can get like a different menu listing of, let's say, oh, this is what's been trending today, or considering since it's cold and rainy, maybe you want soup. So like that'd be interesting. I like that idea of like customizing it based off of the experience. Privacy, I think. Oh, I also think privacy will be pretty big,
Huge.
right? I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
big this year as well with the whole GDP. Is that what it was called?
Hmm. Yeah.
The thing in Europe. I forgot what it was called. So that hit big this year, and so GDPR, I believe. Ah, great. Let me look it
Mm.
up because I don't want to.
You'll look it up. That's fine.
Yeah.
No,
GDPR,
no,
the
yeah.
General Data Protection Regulation. So that hit big. So I can, and then I keep seeing, Google keeps getting in trouble, Facebook keeps getting in trouble. Um, YouTube just got in really big trouble off of their videos, and so the response next year is going to be pretty big. I can see. Face ID, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? Because we're talking about privacy, and he's also saying that the ability to unlock apps with our face is going to be big next year, which I hope not, because I want to do away with like having to use my fingerprints, which I'm pretty sure they still use, they still record, and then my face. I want to get rid of all that, but that'll probably be big. Voice UI and augmented reality. He goes on and on, but I didn't want to do everything. But yeah, he does make a good point that AR. I think AR too will probably start to be pretty big next year too. I can see that, like just seeing with I was playing around with Project Arrow from Adobe this past few weeks. Just trying to do little projects and stuff, and I was surprised with just how easy it was to use. Right, it was something that like I could just use using regular software. Sure, it gives me it doesn't give me like the full-fledged features, and I have to work around the limitations it gives me, based off what I can do as well, since I'm not a developer. But for an easy intro into AR, I can see a lot of people now. It's a little more easier to use, and so I can see a lot more people trying to implement it in design. And so it'll be interesting to see what like next year kind of does playing with that. So that's pretty interesting. I think he does a few more, but I'll let you
Explore.
listeners read the article. Yeah, we have the links in the show notes. Terry, what do you think about some of these big trends in next year, and do you agree?
Um, yeah. It's just a lot like amazing stuff that's happening. I definitely think when he talks about um personalization, that basically, he says in here, designers have to better understand the behavior of individuals rather than audience segments to
Mm.
improve the overall user experience. That's going to be very key. I really, really do. And then the other one, as you scroll down, well, of course, privacy. I mean, that's a given. That's
Mhm.
woohoo. That's a real given, right? Um, and I'm gonna have to disagree with you when you say Face ID.
Mhm.
You hate that stuff. In a
Yeah.
point, I can understand your way, but oh my freaking god, you know how convenient that is.
To use your face. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so convenient. But then again, I understand on the other side of it too. But then again, it's kind of level of like your life and your time is like convenience or time, right?
Mhm.
So it's got to be a balance in between because now as we go into 2020, 2021, 2023, 2024, it's like our time is spent shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, unless it's just me. Because 5 years ago, it didn't feel like that. You know, it felt like we had, oh yeah, we have time and this and that. But now it's like boom, 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 boom. So it's just, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just in the vortex of something.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Face ID and then voice UI. It's still huge now, but it's definitely going to be huge because of convenience.
Yeah. I'm waiting for, like in the movies, we often see the idea of people interfacing with an AI. So, like you're talking to, like you're having a conversation with it, right? Like, let's say Hal from HAL from the Kubrick film. Can't even remember what it is right now. Um, the Stanley Kubrick film. Man, I'm so off today. But or like that, the movie Her, where it's Joaquin Phoenix talking to just like this little device, and he has like it's like he has a relationship with it. I'm not saying to that extent. Oh, even Plankton um, from SpongeBob SquarePants. He has a talking AI computer that I think he's married to. And so that idea of having a conversation with our I feel like we're almost there, but we haven't really had that personalization yet. And so maybe that'll be something that starts to develop more in the coming years, maybe next year. Like that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I know I mentioned what I think it was like maybe like 6 months ago, and we talked about like AR is going to be coming. I don't know
I
now
know.
after what I see is coming. It's like, I think it's still in the warm up stage,
Yeah, I mean, well,
and there's nothing wrong with that either. It's
yeah,
just not.
when you look at some of the things that they are using it for, and the video shows some good examples, like it has Nike uses AR, so then it can tell you what your shoe size is.
Mm,
IKEA is using the AR to help you build its products. And so, like instead of the instructions, you could download the app, and it'll show you how to build it step by step. And like I'm like, oh, that part's pretty awesome too. So, like I think we're just gonna have to find creative ways to do it. It's out there. It's just like, I just don't think we've figured out exactly how to use it yet. And little by little, we'll find the right means to use it. So I don't know.
yeah, maybe not. We just have to just wait for the future, I guess. That's the best thing.
Yeah. Once we could get games to do it more on the phone, and it could start interacting, and we can have like multiple people viewing that experience at the same time, like playing like I could see Pokemon being a great game where you can have your character and you're seeing it on the phone, it's fighting somebody else's character and you can see their stuff on the phone, you can see it real time. Like I'm waiting for that to happen. I mean, I'm not a Pokemon player, but I figured that'd be fun for somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
You just never know. We
yeah.
say
All right.
one thing, and then the future will be something different.
I know. Oh, well, okay. So that is called Trends to Keep an Eye in 2020, and you can find that at uxdesign.cc. So, Terry, what do you got?
Okay, it's from UX Planet, and it's called Understanding Your Future Role. That's funny because we talk about future, and I thought this was a good, segment roll in. So anyway, understanding your future role being a product designer. This came out on November 19th, and I am not gonna try and pronounce this young man's name because I'm gonna just murder it. But anyways, I think he did of a very good job. So anyways, I like how the way he started. I was afraid that my career would end in the hands of someone else a few days back. This sentence resonated with
Mhm.
me because how many times you're at a job and you do something and somebody says your name and you're all, oh shit, what did I do? Right?
You
How
said
many times has that
oh
happened?
shoot, oh
Oh
shoot.
yeah, shoot. Yeah, shootsters. Shoesters. But yeah, that just kind of brought back memories of like, oh my God. So anyways, so um so that's why he was saying that's why he wrote an article saying the UX is dying. And of course, there's a lot of people that had to say and gave him feedback. So his next sentence, he says, then I thought to myself, is UX not actually dying? We can improve ourselves to become better by knowing who we are. And I thought that was very interesting because who are we? Who are we as a person? Who are we, as a designer, right? How can we take that, right? So, well, actually, what does a product designer really do? You know, are they going to learn? And then he was just saying, actually, a product designer is actually a new job role that is coming up to here to say, and basically, it's been in the job market, right? So anyway, he goes into talking about in the old golden days, and he was just stating designers they were taken in to make visuals design of a software or product or whatever, and they took instructions just from the product managers and they start the work and then the whole design phase. But now he's saying the most modern product designers they will work with a different teams a collaboration as a team at the phase of the product. So so I thought that was really interesting how he laid out everything. So basically, I'm just gonna kind of like jump. And what I found interesting of what he was talking about on number three of saying creative pr- pr- prototype. So he was saying, so basically, they talk about product design and basically how important is it, and when he says how important, I'm thinking, okay, does the team know how important is it? Is the company know how important or the client that we're working for? How important is to do these prototyping and testing, right? In the whole environment, is it the right environment or not in the right environment? And then he continues to number five, visual design. And he keeps on saying, okay, visual design is where designers do branding, typography, composition, and they talk about the product. And then at some level, they do wireframes, more the traditional of doing UX, but also too, you have some designers that actually code as well. So I mean, it just goes on and on of everything. And basically, I think he did a real excellent job, of breaking down of his own opinion and what is the product designer. now, currently, or will it be that in the future? So, what do you think, Adam?
Yeah, it's an interesting article. It definitely is. It's an it's how do I explain it? I guess it's trying to it's an interesting discussion that I keep seeing of like what's the difference between a product designer and a UX designer, and where do they fit in and when do they come in during the product, during the timeline. And it's interesting, I've heard some people say that like UX designers are mainly for the beginning stages and the creations of products, where product designers take it on from there and then iterate and make changes once it's already established. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still don't know how I feel like it's still something that's being discussed and we're all just still trying to figure it out. Um, but like what the article talks about, like what it takes to be a product designer now, and it makes sense. I mean, I feel like a little by little, I mean, all these skills really kind of cross over a lot, right? Creating prototypes, user testing, visual design. I mean, to some extent, we all kind of do a little bit of that. But I don't know. It's definitely it's something I'm still also trying to figure out myself. How does it all fit together?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why our industry is such a welcoming industry. I'm hoping it's welcoming now. Um, that it can be, I don't say anything, that's not the right word, but I mean, it's just so much you can do. There's like
Hmm.
service design, UX design, UI design, interaction design, voice design, being a content designer and doing research, branding, strategy, design thinking, psychology. It just goes on. It's just like it's like the never ending great dessert buffet. It just keeps on going down the line, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Okay, so uh, do you have another story for us?
Yeah. This next one is from anwash.com and it's just called Zuba. And what Zuba is it's an Egyptian street food restaurant. So a while ago, we talked about Jessica Walsh. She was part of a creative team called Stagmeister and Walsh, and they were a kind of a creative agency. um Stefan Stagmeister, he would like often go away and on sabbaticals every once in a while, and I think finally he decided to step away, uh like more so than usual. And so Jessica Walsh decided to go on her own, and she created And Walsh, which was her own creative agency. So we talked about this a while ago, and you know, um, now going back, we're starting to see some of the work that she's been developing with her team. And the latest one is this restaurant called Zuba, right? She helped them rebrand. I guess originally they're based out of Cairo, and they recently wanted to have a presence in New York, and so she helped with the kind of branding to rebrand it for like a different audience, right, in the West. And so when you look at some of the work, I think it just really looks awesome, right? First to start off is the use of color. She uses a lot of just flooding everything she can with all these primary colors. So like the cup is almost all red or almost all blue, and it has just these little kind of kind of borders and kind of flourishes all with like a different complementary color, like a blue or a red as well. And so I love just her use. It's just simple use of colors. It looks like she or their team took a lot of inspiration from like tile that you would see kind of in in these eastern countries. And what's great too is the use of uh, I guess their typography. So they have this kind of handwritten typography that they use, and they either put it in front of products or behind products. And when you look at what she wrote about it, or what they said is that they actually used a calligrapher based out of Cairo to help them with the branding of it too. And so you get to see just all this kind of cool writing that you have throughout. And like overall, I think it's just kind of like the whole brand experience is kind of great. Like I just love that they put a lot of effort into just uncommon details that you wouldn't think about. Yeah, and one of those things is, for example, they recreated a no smoking sign. They recreated the employees must wash hands sign, and they made it in their own style that goes along with their branding. And so it's just like those small little touches. Like they also even have a poster that is like I think it's like an awareness poster, what to do if like somebody has somebody's choking. So it shows you how to do like the Heimlich maneuver, but it's done in their style as well. But instead, the person is like a crocodile or an alligator. I never know which one it is. One of those. And so some of that's kind of interesting. And even they have like these food wraps. Like when you wrap a hamburger, like the kind of paper that it's in. They also have that too, but they made it to kind of look like a type of newspaper that you would find in like Cairo. And so like just every little just all these little flourishes are like things that
Detail.
yeah, it's just like the little details of it all. It's the kind of stuff that I find really interesting. And like so I just think it's great. So overall, I just kind of think it's great. I love just the thought that went into everything. Their napkins even have like a saying on it that says like, "Hey, you've got tahini on your shirt." You know, just like a fun vibe, colorful. They did the painting on the outside. They have a series of posters on the inside. They even did the uniforms, which there's one uniform I don't really care for, the striped one. But other than that, it's cool. They even have animations. They went all out, and so I definitely recommend checking it out. Uh, Terry, what do you think about Zuba?
Two things. If you're not making a mess, you're not doing it right.
Yeah,
That
right.
I love. And then if you scroll, where is it? There's a little animation. I
Mhm.
think it's by the green shirt that you didn't like, right? Is that the shirt?
Yeah, 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 the striped shirt.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well. Anyway, next to the striped shirt, there's there's five people on a motorcycle, and they're
Yeah,
going super fast, and the animation go bloop,
yeah.
and
It
they
looks like they
go
hit like a little bump in
yeah,
their butt.
bloop.
Yeah.
I really like that. I don't know why. I'm just okay. Maybe I'm just tired, but that was really cool though. And yeah, I mean, I definitely like their color. I mean, their colors. I mean, they kind of match, but then again, they don't match.
Hmm.
That seems odd, but not odd because it looks good together. I know that I don't make much sense right now, but I think it's cool. I mean, it's neat. They definitely did their homework on this. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and even like that animation, right? It's like where's that animation gonna live? Like, is it for the website? Is it for is it for like a TV
Delivery,
screen? Huh?
delivery,
Yeah, is it gonna
delivery.
be for their app or something? So even then, I'm like, they didn't have to do that even right away. And but they're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and even make these little animations for you as well. And they have at least three of them that I can see right here. They have it looks like they have a donkey of some sort pulling a subway. Is that a
Go
donkey?
slow. Yeah.
And then they
I don't.
have this boat that's rocking back and forth with I guess I'm gonna say a crocodile for the sake of argument, eating the fruit that
Tomatoes.
kind of pops off the bowl as the ship is rocking. So yeah, it's funny little things here and there.
Yeah, and even the pigeons on top kind of like swaying.
Yeah.
They look like they look like they're like singing a song, but there's no music going, you know?
Yeah.
It's very subtle and it's just like makes me like want to go to sleep and take a nap because that's how smoothing it is, but there's no sound.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
even the water is moving with the boat moving, is like I can hear the sound, or it's like making you kind of sleepy and tired, and you're like, oh, okay, it's nice and peaceful, but there's no sound. I mean, how crazy is that? How subtle that animation is. So yeah, I mean, I suck at animation. I'll be the first one to say that. But when I see something like this, it's like, wow, just imagine what they went through, just making that bob correct. You know,
Hmm.
details, like you said, details. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So that is the Zuba kind of rebranding, and you can find that at andwash.com. So Terry, what do you got?
Okay, I have one more thing. Mine is not as jovious as yours. It's coming from UX Collective and design better buttons. Everything you need to know to have this important interface element to go to the next level. And this is from Michael, either Michael or uh, McCall. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
butchering names. I'm so sorry. It's Michael. Maybe he's French or something. I'm not quite sure. So I do apologize. I apologize. I'm horrible, horrible person when it comes to names. But anyway, um, what I really liked about his article is this big, gorgeous, gorgeous button that tells you, like, here's the shadow, here's the padding, here's the safe space margin, font size, color, weight, and decoration, and quarter radius. And this is perfect how the way it's big enough so we can see it, right? So, anyways, he goes on talking about most important thing to know: a button should look like a button.
Hmm.
Okay. So the most important rule why designing a button is for it to stand out enough so it won't be confused with anything else, which he is very correct. So anyway, so having a button is the most interactive element you can have on any page or any digital product, right? So it can lead to purchasing, downloading, sending, or other important information, right? So anyway, he goes through all the steps of like familiar. Okay, that's good. People use certain shapes and forms that are not normally associated with the action, but the more buttons to look like a button, the better. That's why they use a triangle are always the safest choice for a button. But other shapes like a triangle, circle, or organic, it may not be most recognizable, but button distinction. So anyway, he goes over, all the elements of what a brand button baseline would kind of, look like, as I said earlier. So he talks about spacing and alignment, the right size of the button, so where your touch point is on mobiles was 44 pixels by 44 pixels. Good practice, importance. They also work with icons. Check out as quickly. So again, the right arrow is called a chevron. Place the button after the label. So he goes through everything for versus like rounded corners and aligned icons, and it's just really he did a fantastic job of like really explaining what's bad or what's good, what is the difference, and then basically he gives a really nice summary of to keep in line, and there's bullet points with that. So I mean, he did a really nice book, and it looks like he has he has a book of an upcoming book, and basically you can download his free PDF, which is a free chapter of his book. So basically, I thought that was kind of cool. Just about the buttons, and then his PDF is actually called "Designing Users Interface." It's a handbook, and basically it goes into, okay, what is designing, who is this book for? Digital project, do they have an interface, blah blah blah. Designers, he goes into about designers, beginning and front end development, marketing, social media, startups. He goes into curious types, and that's because blah 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 buttons, and then he just keeps on going everything like what it is. And the first part of his PDF is actually the article in itself, but but within the PDF he goes into it a little bit more focused. So hey, it's free. Check it out. I think it's kind of cool that basically he went into every single nook and cranny about buttons, because sometimes buttons, they're not fun. Sometimes, right? Some people get confused of when they're starting out about buttons. What is the primary, the secondary, the tertiary buttons, right? So, and button types, outline buttons, non edging corners. So I mean, he goes really into awesome detail about that. So, what do you think?
Buttons. Yeah.
Buttons.
Yeah, button. I used to watch this cartoon called what was it called? I think it was called like it was one of those like Animaniacs type shows, and there's a girl on there that had a dog, and she would always get into trouble, and it would always be the dog having to save her, but the dog was named Buttons, and then so all the time it'd be her going Buttons, Buttons, or I don't know. But yeah, great. Pretty much everything you need to know about buttons. This article talks about. Well, the PDF itself uh, goes into more depth into all things buttons. But yeah, a lot of great little points in here. Anyways, I know for me, starting off as like a young sloppy designer, I I would always mess up. One of the hardest things to figure out was getting the right spacing for having text with an icon inside, and I was like, oh man, I can never really, I couldn't, I couldn't really find a good, like a good formula to follow, because like the text itself, if you had multiple buttons, they all are all different sizes. The icons were the same size, but but then trying to make it all kind of look consistent was always like a hassle for me. And then I found the Google's material design, and I was like, they have the specs in there. So then that's when I started following, like I was always in that thing trying to figure it out, like I was like, okay, I kind of want to make this. All right, better go to material design and see the specs just to make sure like I'm close to it, following the right rules. And yeah, so this is definitely like pretty much all the things that um, you're probably doing in buttons is all in here that you should be doing, right? A nice shadow,
Mm-hmm.
make it look great. Having that padding be consistent. Using the W is a good one, and then making the padding um, that's on the sides, make it be double what you're doing for the vertical than you're doing for the width is pretty good too. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out if you're having button related problems.
Yeah, I know. I think he did a really great job. I mean, just even it's like, oh yeah, it's a great reminder, because he really slows it down,
Hmm.
and what I really, really, really loved about it is basically he broke it apart piece by piece and gave you reasons, right?
Hmm.
And and those bite-sized nuggets are so huge, because when we're designing, we just go 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 go, and we don't, it's like, oh, the whole picture, and we might get overwhelmed about something. And basically how the way he breaks it down is like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. So anyway, I just thought it was just a really good read.
Hmm.
So okay, so what do you have for us? Any more?
No, that's it.
Okay, so you know what's next, right?
I'm guessing the question of the week.
Yes, the question of the week, and that is from Andrew. Okay, so here is his question. If there was a topic I'd love to hear more about is the difference between entry level, junior level, and senior level portfolios. So again, I'll repeat the question. If there was a topic I'd love to hear more about is the difference between entry level, junior level, and senior level portfolios. So, Adam, thoughts?
Yeah, I would say more of like what I see when I see these type of things. Although, I feel like now even um, younger designers are like learning all the tricks earlier. And so, like all their stuff is looking way better. And even I'm like, oh, darn, it's looking better than my stuff. But I'm just kind of wanting to see what I see when I see portfolios at these levels. Like when I look at a when I had seen entry level portfolios, like the kind of things that I'd notice is stuff like a lot of logos, right? For some reason, they're younger designers like to do a whole mess of logos, and so you're like, okay, that's great that you can make logos, but you don't really, unless like that's your primary job, you're not going to be making them like on a regular basis in a real design in a real design position. A lot of like single page designs, right? So like one screenshot of an app or a web page or something, maybe two, and then that's it. Maybe a paragraph talking about it. When I look at more junior level work, I see, more fleshed out. Like I would see more pages of things being done, right? Just like several pages of a website, several pages of of like just more campaign stuff. And so that's sort of what I've been seeing. When I see like senior level work, you're kind of seeing a lot more like story. Story is where the money is there. Like you see the process, you see from start to finish what their thought process was. You see sketches, you see like kind of even facts and stuff, and then you see pretty much the whole from A to B, start to finish, what the product look like. When I see art director level things, I see stuff like Anne Walsh, right? Like just what we saw with the Zuba. They're not concerned with telling the story. All of their products tell the story right there. Like when I look at art director stuff, that's what I'm seeing. Stuff put up in like mock-ups of things, just like a full-fledged branding, uh, uh, like campaign,
Yeah,
everything.
campaign is huge.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know if that's what you're seeing too, but that's sort of what I see when I see at these different levels. Like I feel like art directors no longer talk about the story. They do like a small thing, but you see just you know uh, uh like you see the package solution along with a poster, along with just everything you could imagine of a full package. And then senior level, we get to the story from A to B. Junior level, it's like just a lot more fleshed out, kind of in between. Entry levels is a lot of single things, logos, a lot of logos, a lot, I don't know. So I would say, start getting to that senior level so that people can start seeing your work, and start talking about your process, and then just start filling it up with as many different things as you can, right? Like you need to show that you need to give the person hiring you, like you need to show them your value. Like, hey, not only can I do a website, but if they need a brochure, I can be the creative to help them do that as well. Oh, you're gonna hire me just for more for my creative ability, my well-rounded creative abilities, as opposed to just me being able to make a website. Like, sure, anybody can make a website, but can you expand upon that? Can you create like a whole campaign, tell a story? Where's can you be that person? Can you be that agency in one kind of deal? And so I don't know. What about you, Terry? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that is an awesome topic, and you are I agree with you on some parts like the entry and junior and senior level. I
Hmm.
might get some flack about this, but I really don't care. Um, sorry. Um, I don't look at like entry, junior, senior, right? I don't, when I look at somebody's portfolio or their work, I look at them as a person, right? So what makes them tick? I mean, how did they get into design? What's their story? How did they
Hmm.
get here? How is their path? So what I do normally is basically I know I do the opposite. I think what most designers do. Um, so when you go to somebody's webpage, Adam, where do you go first?
Uh, their their very first project that they post, because
Okay,
that's
exactly,
right. Because that's
exactly.
what they're gonna. That's because that's the thing they put first. That means that's their strongest, most impactful piece.
Okay, see, I don't go there.
Hmm.
I don't check out their work first. I checked out the whole about me first. That's where I go. I go the opposite end. Different, right? And people's
Hmm.
like, what? Why? Um, because for me, I want to know the person. I want to know, can I trust them? Um, what type of person they are. Because I'm gonna be spending 8 hours with this person, right? So like I need to make sure, oh, this guy's pretty cool or this gal's pretty cool or them or they, I should say. Sorry, I apologize for that. This person, oh, it's really nice, cool, blah blah blah, XYZ. And then I will go to their portfolio. So that's my way. I don't know why, but that's where I always go first because I believe design can be taught, right? Learning your skills. Everybody needs improvement. Everybody has to. But also, too, there is a level of foundation of like, okay, making sure um, you are making the right typography choices, making sure there is space, making sure as Adam says, things don't look sloppy, right? Making sure there's enough um, grid space, making sure you understand, how to use the grid, 4 column, 8 column, 12 column, 16 column, whatever the column is, right? That, that's a base foundation. And then from there, if you don't understand that stuff, that's okay. You can learn that stuff just by making and doing and improving. And once you get improving, that's when the case studies start to come out. That's when you'll get more exposure. And it's about your portfolio or your website or your resume, but also too, it's how you interview as well, because that's a big component. So everything is a little kind of like a recipe, right? If you're making a dish, you need a little salt, a little pepper, a little this, and a little that to make the full you. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if that was helpful. Was that helpful, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, you do have a good point too. Let's say you are comparing two candidates. One has, went to school for design, but but is fairly new, like 3 years into the industry, 5 years. Whereas that's person A. Person B, let's say you're also in, well, yeah. So then person B, just, is about a year doing design, but they also have like 10 years experience in the same industry that you're in, right? So I was like, oh, I would think that I would be more favorable to the person that has more of a background in the industry, right? They've been there, they know what the industry is like. What if the person A, had never even doesn't even know what my industry is, so it'll
Yeah,
be harder
healthcare.
to kind of bring
Yeah,
them up to
healthcare
speed.
sake.
Yeah, so
Healthcare.
like,
Healthcare sake,
so
as an
knowing the
example.
yeah, so knowing the person, knowing their history might also play a role as well, right? So I think that
It's
that
huge.
is, yeah,
That is so huge. I mean, personally, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off,
no,
but
no
yeah,
problem.
I think it's huge. I think that's just, and then, I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's also interesting too. Like the team I'm on now, it's a relatively new team, but it's funny because a lot when you talk to some of them, they're like, "Oh yeah, this other person works here too, and I knew them from this other company, same industry, but like, oh, we would, and this other person knows this also the other person from the same industry at another job, and so like when you stay within the same industry, you start to know the same people also because people bounce around within the same industries, and so just even having that kind of experience is good to know as well. Like, oh,
Hmm.
if this person's been around this long, they might know a few more connections. They might help us along the ways. We're trying to build certain things. They might know other people from that company that would be good in our company. um Definitely knowing the person, knowing their background, is pretty important as well.
Yeah. So anyway, Andrew, I hope that was helpful. Um, Please let us know if we even came close to answering your question or not. Hopefully we did. Um, if you want to ask more questions, well, you know how to get a hold of us for sure. So, anyways, any more thoughts, Andrew? I just called you Andrew. I mean Adam. You guys both starts with an A. Oh Lord, it's getting late.
I know.
I'm,
Uh,
I'm going
no,
cross-eyed.
no, that's it for me.
Okay.
My last thing was that I had, I was gonna do like this whole thing about my homework assignments, right? And my homework, I think the last 2 weeks was to update the work on that logo, and I haven't been able to because, like I said, I've been having weekend work and I'm doing all these other side projects, and so let's see at the end of this week, and so maybe I'll start it next week. Well, next week will be Thanksgiving, so maybe I can do that while I'm with the
Eating turkey.
in-laws. Yeah. While everyone's watching a football game, which I'm not that much of a football fan, I'll be drawing a logo or something. But that's it for
Cool,
me.
cool. Okay. So, Adam, where can they find you at? Hey, and you know what? I called you by your right name too, so that's good.
I know you can find me at Andrew. You can find me on Twitter at Adanzi Adan Cepeda, sorry. That's AdanZepeda. And you can find me on Instagram at adanz.designs. And that's designs with an S at the end. I know because I tried looking for myself on Instagram and I couldn't find myself. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have this. And it's because I didn't put the little S at the end. So it's design with an S. Terry, what about you? Where
Oh,
can we find you on the internet?
well, you can definitely find me on LinkedIn now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just exploding. That's kind of fun. No, but you can find me on Twitter. My handle name is Flaxen Inc. FLAXENINK. And you can find me on Insta. It's flaxening.designs. And then you can find me on TikTok, Flaxen Inc. And yeah, that's it. So anyway, I just want to give another shout out to Andrew. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you for the questions. And if you have any more, don't be shy. All
Yeah,
right.
find us on the internet, and then in the show notes we have all the ways you can find us. So we're on Facebook, we're on email, we're on the internet. Find us.
Yes. Haunt us. Dun dun dun. Anyways, I want to wish everybody of a happy Turkey Day. Next week, design, eat some more, and then do some more design. So anyway, aloha everybody, and safe travels if you're going out of state or traveling.
All right.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Aloha.